Hi guys, it's Cash, and what I've done is gone through the Aberrus raid and identified the big, the scary, and the sneaky boss abilities and assigned them sound alerts so you can be better prepared. Because if you have ever been caught off guard while tunneling during your cooldowns, or you've blown up the raid because you're staring too hard at those health bars, then you'll understand why having an audio cue could be a game changer. Next up, we've got Zskarn, the Vigilant Steward, which is kind of like Paintsmith with traps and bombs to work around, and you basically need to kill him before he fills the whole room with fire, so enjoy. Firstly, we have Tactical Destruction, which are explosions from the dragon statues that are placed around the room, and they grow over time to cover half the room. And in Mythic, I'm pretty sure they cover most of the room. So these will one-shot you. I'm going to assign them both the countdown and the runaway voice alert for this one, just so I can make sure I'm in a good spot before they come out. Unstable Embers is a 10-second dot on a few players marked by a circle. They take damage. Standing in the circle damages you. I am going to give this one a sound alert though, just the banana peel sound alert, and normally I wouldn't bother. It's not a particularly scary ability, but there is a mythic mechanic attached to it, which is called Elimination Protocol, and Zskarn aims a beam at each player with the Unstable Embers, and when it expires, it hits everyone in its path. And this gives you a vulnerability debuff, meaning that if you get hit by it twice, you die. So this will mean you need to position yourself carefully, so I'm going to assign the air horn to that mythic ability as well. And finally, we have Blast Wave, which is a burst of damage to the raid, a knockback. It also applies a short dot to everyone, but the important thing is to position yourself away from any active traps so you don't get pushed into them. So this one will get the bike one. Next up, we've got Magmorax, and on Heroic, he casts Molten Spittle on a few players, giving them a dot and marking them with a circle. So after about 6 seconds, you explode into a puddle, which needs to be soaked. I'm going to assign the PvP flag alert so I can place puddles in a good spot and preserve as much space as possible to play. This one is pretty obvious when it's on you. Overpowering Stomp deals a burst of raid damage and does a pretty big knockback. We are playing on a platform, so you need to be careful not to get knocked over the edge, so I'm going to assign the countdown. I'm pretty sure as an evoker as well, I will be in charge of rescuing some poor old priest from going flying off the edge, so the countdown will give me time to prepare for healing, find my priest, rescue them back into place. Blazing Breath is a frontal cone towards a random player, so it of course gets the bike horn, and on Mythic, the players who get Molten Spittle, one of them will also get a bomb, which everyone needs to soak to split the damage when it explodes, and then obviously soak the puddle as well to reduce the size of it. So it's called Explosive Magma, and I'm going to assign the air horn audio as well as emphasize it when it's on me, because I don't want to be that fool that runs out of the group and wipes us all because no one soaked the bomb. And that's pretty much it for Magmorax. So on to Echoes of Neltharion, which is currently my favorite fight on Heroic. It's a 3-phase fight, and through all phases you'll be dealing with 2 abilities, Rushing Darkness and Volcanic Heart. So Rushing Darkness is the ability that breaks the walls, and every time a wall is broken, the raid takes a ton of damage. Every guild has a different strat. Some want walls broken, so you can better manage the Volcanic Heart ability. Some don't want walls broken at all, so you may be asked to direct yours towards one of the unbreakable walls on the edge of the room. Regardless, you need to be in the right place at the right time, and we're assigning this the bike horn sound effect. Now remember, you will get this throughout the whole encounter. Soon after Rushing Darkness, the boss casts Volcanic Heart, which puts a bomb on 3 players, which explodes after 7 seconds, dealing massive damage and applying a stackable dot to everyone in line of sight. So if you have somewhere to hide, you need to go there. But if you're like us, we try not to break any more walls than strictly necessary. So we just try not to explode on top of people, and we just heal through the dot damage. So for this one, I'm going to assign the banana peel audio cue, and you just go wherever you need to. Also in phase 1, we have Echoing Fissure, where the boss drops huge lava pools that will one-shot you, so you need to get out. Since we've used all the movement ability sounds, I'm going to use the runaway audio, and I'm going to do exactly that. Now in phase 2, you're dealing with the ads. The Rushing Darkness and the Volcanic Heart mechanics are still there, but I don't think there's anything that I would assign a sound 2 in phase 2. So just remember, in phase 3 you've still got Rushing Darkness and Volcanic Heart, but now there are also adds that spawn from the portals that Neltharion creates. Urban Destruction is the danger ability here. You need to hide in a portal, and that will protect you from the lethal raid-wide damage that comes out. However, on Mythic, the portals only protect one player each, so you need to find your own hiding spot, and fast. I assigned this one the countdown so I can make sure that I get the best hidey hole. And finally, we have Scalemander Sarkareth. At the time of recording this, there isn't a lot of information out there for the Mythic changes, but most of us are a little way out from there anyway, so I'm just going to cover the heroic abilities, and when you get to Mythic, I will update you if there's any more sounds to assign. Being the end boss, there's obviously a lot going on, but realistically only a few abilities that would actually be worthwhile assigning sounds to, and it's just going to make everything that much easier if you can listen out for what you need to be doing, because there is actually so much happening. So first up, we have Searing Breath and Mass Disintegrate. Now these are both damaging abilities, but you need to get hit by at least one of them to remove your oppressing howl dot. If you don't remove that dot before the glittering surge goes off, then you will be stunned and die. So you need to get hit by one ability and then dodge it every other time to reduce your damage taken overall. So Searing Breath is a fiery frontal that faces a random player. If you use this to clear your oppressing howl debuff, then you will get a fire dot instead. That ticks pretty hard every second, and it does stack. This one gets the Bicorn because you really should try to avoid it and not use it to clear your debuff. Mass Disintegrate summons a ghost that casts beams towards a player that hits everyone in their path. I'm not gonna lie, I've not seen the ghost. There is a arrow pointing to the person that has it, and I just look at that arrow. I don't really see a ghost, but apparently there's a ghost there. If you use Mass Disintegrate to clear your oppressing howl debuff, then you'll get a dot that ticks every 5 seconds, and you'll also be slowed. So this is the preferred ability to clear your oppressing howl dot, but you really need to dodge it after your initial dispel so you don't get slowed more. So for this one, I've assigned the Banana Peel audio cue, and just look out for those arrows. Then Glittering Surge is the big scary phase 1 ability. It's an 8-second channel on the raid that deals really heavy damage, and if you still have your oppressing howl debuff, this is the part where you get stunned and killed. So the damage here is quite substantial. It's best to stack, use defensives, use healing cooldowns, and you may have guessed that I'm going to assign the countdown to this ability so I can be prepared for the big damage. In phase 2, there are bombs to soak and explode in the emptiness, adds to kill, and things to dodge. There's a lot going on here, and I will be releasing a heroic guide on Sarkareth soon. We got AOTC in the first week, but now I'll just stick to the relative sound cues, and I'll do a proper guide later on. Firstly, I'm going to assign the PvP flag sound to the Void Bomb, so only assigned people should soak the bombs, but they can spawn at anyone's location. So I need to be aware that when they come out, just check my surroundings, make sure I'm not soaking one, because if I do, then I need to go into the emptiness and explode quietly on my own, and I don't want to do that as a healer. Next up, we've got Abyssal Breath, where the boss flies to a location with a big dragon breath and knocks you back and deals damage to anyone hit. So this one can be tricky to see. I assigned the Bicorn so I can make sure that I'm not in its path, but it is a little hard to see this one, and it also spawns adds that then need to be interrupted and killed. On Heroic, there is Infinite Duress, which is a dispellable dot cast on a random player, but when it's dispelled, the raid takes moderate damage and everyone gets knocked back. It's not a huge knockback, but it's still a knockback. So I assigned the Banana Peel sound so I can make sure that I'm not near an edge, or if I'm the person with the dot, it's best that you are standing near an edge so you knock everyone towards the center. But also, honestly, I'm a dragon, so I'm really not that worried. And that's phase 2. I'm making it sound real easy, but there's just not a lot of abilities that I would assign sounds to in phase 2. So phase 3 starts after 4 minutes, or when he drops to 40% health, whatever happens first. So we'll still have the Void Bombs, we still gain stacks of Oblivion. When you get to 10 stacks, you get down into the emptiness, you get teleported, and we still have the dispellable dot that knocks everyone back. But now we also have Cosmic Ascension. This is a very obvious AoE to run out of, but it can one-shot you. So I've assigned the Runaway audio, and I think you should definitely follow that advice. Scouring Eternity is the massive explosion that kills anyone who isn't hiding. You have 5.5 seconds to find these shimmering lines behind an active asteroid, so I'm going to assign this the countdown, which will give me more like 10 seconds. After the explosion, each active asteroid also deals raid-wide damage, so there's also a healing requirement there. At some point, Sarkareth targets a few players, and a few seconds later, ghosts fly across the platform towards them. They do quite a bit of damage, and they apply Oblivion strikes. So again, if you get 10 stacks of Oblivion, you're going to go down into the emptiness, and you have to collect some stuff and come back. This mechanic though is called Hurtling Barrage, and it's going to get the bike horn. So if you have this debuff, you need to move towards the edge of the platform to avoid the ghosts crossing through the raid. And if you don't have it, you just need to make sure that you're sort of clustered in with everyone else, not standing near the edges. And finally, we have Embrace of Nothingness. This is a soak on a random player that leaves behind a black hole that destroys nearby asteroids and also deals damage to any nearby players. So we usually sacrifice the person who has this debuff. We try to have a battle res ready for them, so we don't have to soak this mechanic. But this won't work for everyone, because the point of destroying the asteroids is to make sure there's not too many. So after Scouring Eternity, when they deal damage, they don't like one-shot your raids. So this one gets the air horn. You're either going to sacrifice yourself if that's your guild strategy, or you need to make sure you're in a good place where people can soak, and you also need to be destroying some asteroids. And that is it for the Aberrus raid. Let me know your progression status in the comments, and if you found this guide useful. I will be releasing a Heroic Zskarn and Mythic guides from a healer point of view over the coming weeks. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning back in as well. I've been off for a couple of weeks because I had COVID. And now I'm moving house, so great. But thank you so much. Bye, guys.